Do white people smell a certain way to other ethnicities? Healthcare worker here. I have noticed that people of different races and ethnicities have different body odors. None of them are inherently worse than the other. Just different. I am sure that there are many reasons for this. Different microbial biomes, different diet, different clothes, different cultural beliefs and practices behind hygiene, and different availability of hygiene products and bathing facilities. But yes, I think there is a difference. Edit. I am white. So the gene called ABCC11 apparently determines wet or dry earwax. People with dry earwax also lack the chemical in sweat that bacteria feed on. This bacteria is what causes odor. While only 2% of Europeans lack this chemical, a significantly large number of East Asians, especially Koreans, do not make the bacteria and therefore don't have the same body odor as Europeans. This info is from Scientific American, January 17, 2013. Yes, in my experience all colors of skin smell a certain way, whether it be white, black, brown, etc. Yes, but I'd argue it's more country dependent on if it's noticed. I'm Indian American and I was in India for high school and college. When I first moved there, I noticed how people smelled, and it took a month or so before I didn't smell it anymore. When I moved back to the USA, I noticed how everyone except Indian people smelled, but then I didn't smell that either after a bit. I'm inclined to think it's more diet dependent than anything, but there's probably someone more qualified to speak to that. TLDR. Humans are smelly. What you notice is dependent on what you're used to. Based on my experience, I dated a Mexican woman once and she said she and her brothers said that the smell of dryer sheets coming out of the dryer exhaust was white people smell. The idea that people of other ethnicities stink comes mainly from them not being used to the smell. It is a bit unfortunate. I knew someone who had a landlord who would never rent to Asians because of the smell. This is in Europe, and I can totally see how Asians with sensitive noses can have the reverse opinion. It is something you get used to. It's nothing you can do about it other than to just deal with it and get used to it. I'm a nose-blind white guy, so my running tally so far from this thread: wet pennies, cereal milk and pennies, meat, beef, smoky, onions, death, dryer sheets. Edit 1. Slight hint of cheese. Edit 2. Wet dog. Edit 3. Butter. Edit. Ham and or ham sandwich. I have traveled abroad. I don't live in a white country. And yes, people from different races have different smells. As someone who has lived in several different countries and has friends from all around the world, in my experience, every ethnicity has a distinct smell, but they all smell somehow. I'm a nurse in America. I've noticed people of all races have certain scents. I think it is related to microbiome, diet and practices that have nothing to do with hygiene. Asians have an almost fishy smell with very strong breath. White people and African Americans are the easiest for me to smell diabetes on before a diagnosis. It's a distinct sweet, sour smell. Hispanics smell like food, spice and perfume. Indian patients smell like a heavy musk and spice. But none of it is bad. However, if a patient is not bathed or is on certain medication, the smells change for the worse. We all smell, and you are what you eat. From my experience with my family, friends and intimate relationships, I find that each ethnicity has a distinctive smell due to their diet and products they use. One side of my family are from Argentina. When my relatives visit from the motherland, I find that they smell of leather and yerba mate. It may be due to their diet of black Angus beef, and a few are gauchos, cowboys. However, I am Californian and my family that live here have adapted to the Californian lifestyle for decades. Our diet is more balanced and is filled with vegetables. We eat British, Argentine, Spanish, Italian, Salvadoran, Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese, Chinese, and Mexican Californian cuisine. We are truly spoiled here in California. The spices that we cook with and eat surround us. I may smell like basil, oregano, mint, or sage. Majority of my female friends are Korean and their homes smell of chili spices and yummy kimchi. My friends from India, their homes smell of those delicious earthy spices and curry. My ex of 6 years, who is Vietnamese, he smelled of fish oil all the time. My last partner, who is Caucasian, smelled of raw onions. Oddly enough, it was known among the men in that family and they didn't like eating raw onions. I found that fascinating. Moreover, you have products that affect your scent as well. Perfume from the Middle East is quite more potent. People who use cocoa shea butter lotion smell of chocolate. The reason that your immediate group or ethnicity doesn't notice the smells on you is because you guys have the same base scent, are always around each other or eat the same foods. That's why you notice others of different ethnicity and diet scent more prominently than that of your own. We're all diverse, even when it comes to our own personal scent. Edit. To add that personal hygiene or lack of is also a contributing factor. I'll give an answer based on my own experience. I was stationed in the ROC for a year while in the Army. To most Americans, the first thing you notice when arriving in country is the smell. Kimchi is a national dish there and everyone eats it. Everyone smells that way to us since what you eat comes out of your pores, especially when you eat it all the time. You get used to it and carry on. After being there for a while and making friends, I asked some Korean friends about how we smell to them. Direct reply was, soured milk. On the average, white people consume more dairy products. In Japan, and insult native Japanese use on returning expatriates is, you smell like butter, or some version of that. Another example is I dated a Bulgarian woman for a few years and she consumed large quantities of her country's cheeses. That is how she smelled. BTW. I have a very good sense of smell, so my experiences may be a little stronger than average. When we were little, my white friends always smelled like pennies or dairy. There was no in between. I was told I smell of tortillas and Fabuloso. Can you guess my race? White dude. I've been told I smell smoky. Like applewood. I don't smoke. I don't smoke meats. I practice good hygiene. I just naturally smell like smoked wood. My girlfriends tend to like it. So that's nice. My good friend from India says I, white, and others smell like milk. Woman shrugging, medium light skin tone. Can confirm. I'm a white male. My first girlfriend was Korean. It was also my first sexual encounter. She had zero body smell. Or without being too graphic, taste. This being my first girlfriend, I figured that was how most girls who are clean with themselves were. I then went on to date and marry a black girl, and once that marriage had ended, several white girls. There is a very distinct difference in race, especially in the bedroom. It's honestly fascinating to me personally. Also, I have a biracial son from my marriage. The difference between me and him, from skin to hair to products needed, is crazy cool. Again, I find it all fascinating. I heard a lot that Norwegian smells like milk because of our high intake of milk and other dairy foods. I'm Norwegian and have never noticed this, but you can probably not tell if you're one of them. I don't know with 100% certainty, but I do know that one of my dogs, I have 5, all rescues, But one of them, who is unfortunately 180 pounds and very strong, seems to have an issue with people of Latino or Hispanic or Spanish heritage. I don't know if this is 100% true, but I do know that quite a few people in our house cannot have him in the house when they are here. I am not getting rid of my dog, no, but we have to figure out what the root of the problem is, because this dog in particular was living alone on the streets in Central California for over a year. A small little farming town. We don't know what happened. Some people think he escaped from a farm but was living out in the open. And you never know who was nice to him and he was mean to him, so I think people do have different body smells. One smell isn't better than the other, but they're different, and my dog sniffs everybody when they come in, and 100% of the time when they have been of the ethnicity or heritage above I've mentioned, he tends to be aggressive. This is the same dog who sleeps next to me with his head on my face, and I don't think for one second he will attack me. He's never bitten anybody, let me be clear. But he has certainly jumped up on people with growling. Of course we diffuse it right away. We never leave anybody alone with any of our dogs because everybody can say their dog is so great. But let's face it, if any of our dogs wanted to kill us, they could. We have to be realistic. But I do think that it makes complete sense people would smell different. Maybe my nose has just been super congested forever, but I have never noticed different ethnicities having a particular smell.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. TooAfraidToAsk is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.